Let's start the show.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the ACM show. This week we have a previous candidate of ACM Healthcare who has since moved on and started his own thriving business as a physiotherapist, Glenn Magdalene. How are you, Glenn?
I'm well, thanks Pierre. And yourself?
I'm great, thank you for asking.
My pleasure.
Great, let's get into it. So when you were working at ACM Healthcare, you were actually an exercise physiologist. And for people who don't know, what is an exercise physiologist?
So basically, exercise physiologists are movement experts. Our job is to understand the certain requirements of a given task, whether that be work-related, within their sport, or within their recreation. We look for any discrepancies within their capacity. So, whether someone needs more range of motion at their hips, for example, to lift up something from the floor, or whether they might need more strength within their legs to perform like a squatting motion. And then once we've gathered that data, comes the fun part. We start to develop their own personalized exercise treatment plan aimed at strengthening their weaknesses. So on top of that, our goal is to also educate them on the strategies that they need to do in the long term so that they can manage their injury or condition independently.
Nice, that's awesome. So we mentioned this earlier, you did actually work with ACM Healthcare back in 2016 or 2017 as a permanent placement. What was that process like working with ACM Healthcare?
That was back in 2016. I had my first full-time work placement with you guys.
Oh.
From memory, it was really easy. Not much to say about it. I was speaking with Mervyn and Ivan at the time. In terms of communication, they pretty much just sent me like all the documents that I need to fill in. They ran through the process with me over the phone. They send me reminders about the job interviews as well. And then following the whole like kind of employment process, they were calling in pretty regularly to check up on me as well. So yeah, it was pretty simple, to be honest.
So since working with ACM Healthcare, you've actually completed your master's in physiotherapy. What was the reason you decided to pursue your master's in physiotherapy?
So basically, I wanted to add more versatility to my treatment. I wanted to also have that ability to diagnose a condition and assist in the treatment of like an early acute condition where an EP wouldn't normally intervene. And to be honest, it felt good being able to see patients from the beginning of the journey to the end, because I'm not too sure how familiar you are with the physio and EP transition, but the traditional sense is after an injury, they'll tend to see a physio for the initial treatment, and once their movement capacity improves, it'll transition onto an EP. So then I wanted to be that person that was there for the full cycle of the treatment from beginning to end.
Yeah. So you mentioned if you are a physiotherapist, you do the initial treatment and then an exercise physiologist takes over. So did you find any limitations as to what you can do as an EP as opposed to what a physiotherapist can do?
Yeah, definitely. The first one is being able to diagnose an injury, like I mentioned, especially when someone tends to come in with a secondary injury to what we're originally treating. I wanted to be able to kind of assess that on the spot and see if that had any relevance to their kind of primary injury. And secondly, I feel like being able to add a few manual therapy techniques to my treatment kind of adds another tool to the belt per se. It's not something that I tend to use, I guess, like too commonly, but it does have its place when suited.
So just out of curiosity, what advice do you have for someone who's already an accredited exercise physiologist and is currently in the middle of studying their Masters of Physiotherapy?
First of all, first thing I'd say is make sure you stay polished with your exercise prescription. I feel like this kind of, I guess, gave me a bit more of an advantage per se when it came to the practical assessment side of things during our like musculoskeletal classes. Secondly, when it comes to employment while studying as a physio, I would say, I guess, depending where your end goal is, try and get into that as early as possible, whether that be as a casual, as a contractor, or as a part-time employee. Just remember though that during your second year of studying, you'll have like your 4 blocks of placement, so that's going to limit employment. But yeah, just try and get into somewhere as early as possible where you want to kind of head to. So if you want to be a private practice dual EP in physio, then try and get like a weekend job in a private practice. So that way you get to experience what it's like to be part of a multidisciplinary team. And otherwise, if your goal is to get into like a hospital setting, seek some opportunities, whether it be voluntary or working as a physio aide.
Okay, great. So I guess really lay the foundations down for what you want to do as a career as a physiotherapist.
Depending where you want to go, if you want to be a dual EP or physiotherapist, go to an environment that I guess where you'll be able to expose yourself to that. So like I said, private practice is really good at that because you'll generally have both professions there, and you can see how both professions communicate, how that patient transition occurs, and really identify any gaps within that transition too. So like
Mm.
whether that be being able to get the patient involved with more active exercises early on within their rehab, so that way when they do transition to the exercise physiologist, they're more better prepared for it.
Glenn, I couldn't help but notice you've got a very nice jumper on there with the acronym MHH, which I would assume stands for My Health Hub, which is actually your business. Is that correct?
Ah, good guess. Yeah.
It also says My Health Hub right underneath it. But anyway, but yeah, no, look, I just wanted to know what is My Health Hub? When and why did you start it? Because you came pretty much out of university and decided to start My Health Hub, which is commendable, I must say. And it's a huge feat for especially a new graduate, if you consider, but you had been working as an exercise physiologist prior to that. But as a new grad physiotherapist, you decided to start My Health Hub. So can you tell us a bit about My Health Hub?
So My Health Hub, we're based in Western Sydney and we provide physio and EP services. The main clientele we see are your work cover and CTPs, sports injuries, your chronic disease management. We also specialize in home visits as well. So that's a main part of our treatment services. In terms of why we started, we basically we started in Western Sydney because, like, let's be honest, we know that cost is a big barrier within that demographic.
Absolutely.
So being able to provide a bit more kind of affordable and accessible services, I found was, I guess, something that we could do to bridge the gap from people not seeking health services to people being able to access it on a regular basis.
Nice. Awesome. And you started it really, really early, straight out of university. Was that a goal you had in mind when you started studying physiotherapy?
So basically, it wasn't as pre-planned as I thought. Going through my last kind of year within my physio degree, and like I said, pursuing a job where I was able to see EPs and physios work together, I was able to, I guess, gain that confidence to take that next step straight out of uni.
Hmm.
And really having that dual qualification was something I found was quite rare within the community. So I really wanted to be able to just get out there and showcase, I guess, the dual, like our services really.
So what's the end goal for My Health Hub? Where do you see it in 5 years? I mean, what's the ultimate goal?
I see My Health Hub being one of the main allied health providers within Western Sydney. So basically, the goal is to expand our team, being able to offer a bit more of a wider range of services, such as dietetics and occupational therapy as well. Um, and yeah, the main goal is to be able to, I guess, create a culture or an environment where clinicians are encouraged to, make those mistakes like I was able to when I was a young clinician. Being able to, I guess, like be aware of opportunities that lie ahead of them because I know that I'll be employing some people in the future. I guess more so as a stepping stone within their career. So I want to be able to, I guess, be able to boost them up as early on as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, success doesn't come without failure, 100%. You know what I mean? That's when that's when you learn the most, is when you don't succeed. So
Exactly. Yeah.
that's awesome, man. All right, Glenn, that's it. Thank you so much for jumping on the show. This isn't actually the first podcast you jumped on, but I'm assuming it's your most favorite.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know why you took so long to answer that. But anyway, look, if you are a young clinician and you are looking to start your own business, would you be happy to, I guess, give them some advice and help them, could they contact you?
Yeah, definitely. I encourage it. More than happy to help.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll put your details just above just somewhere there. Yep. Perfect. Again, thank you so much for jumping on. This is Pierre from the ACM show. We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks.